Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen, and all in between, and welcome back to part 16 of the life and suffering of Sir Brante as we take the noble path. So we're 23 years of age, it's the year 1141, it's chapter 4, and we are moving closer and closer to the revolt. So just to give you a quick idea of where we are, we're almost in a worse position than when we started. We've got our career is only at 5, and justice has dropped to 3. In our last decision, we decided we weren't going to sacrifice the law of the realm, which meant our career went down. So I'm still not sure that was the best decision. I probably should have agreed with him, but anyway, here we are as usual. This is our skills. We're almost masterful diplomat. Let's try and get that at least, and move our valor into a seasoned warrior. So, a friend in need. You arrive at the office one fine morning and find a visitor already sitting there. The visitor is none other than Tomas Guerrero. His heavy uniform already bears a captain's chevrons. Tomas looks nervous, his fingers strumming a foreboding staccato on the desk. Why has your old friend decided to pay you a visit? You have to remember as well we have a bond of friendship with Tomas. You pat your friend on the shoulder and congratulate him on his promotion. Tomas shrugs, quietly brimming with pride. I got bumped up a month ago. Apparently the Legion is running short on decent officers, and then I realised why there are so few of them. Wish I knew my direct superior was going to be our very own Commander Otton. Not a man we have a high opinion of. Tomas grows grim at the mention of Otton. Listen buddy, you and me, we always help each other out, right? That Archduke bastard, well, he challenged me to a duel for the second time. He cut me down a month ago. That was my second lesser death. Oh Jesus. I know, I never told you, but it was tough. The gods, they spoke to me there in the hereafter. But right now, I got something worse to worry about than matters of the soul. See Otton, he remembers me from that time at the academy, when I stood up to him at the party. Now he's gonna kill me again and again until my true death comes. So it's a duel. That's Otton's way of having fun with his subordinates. Morgan, I'm asking you as a friend, will you be my second at the duel? I know Prefect Elbow doesn't like any kind of sword fighting. It's one of the old traditions he wants to put a stop to, but if I show up without a second, he won't just kill me for a third time, he'll dishonor me too. Oh god, he's definitely going to kill us if we sign up to that fight. I mean, we still have 2 lesser deaths, but I don't want to just throw one away. I mean, it's funny, we took a bond of friendship, but nothing has helped our friendship with Tomas. It hasn't helped us in any way. We lost reputation for having dinner with him, and now we could lose another life. You knit your brow in thought. In the prefect's opinion, dueling is a lawless tool of noble tyranny. Elborn sees duels as an outmoded way of circumventing the legal system. He would be crushed to learn that one of his judges had been involved in a duel. Tomas sighs heavily. I know this is hard, pal, but I've got no one else to turn to. All the boys in the Legion fare Otton like the plague. You're the only noble who can support me in this. But I know this duel won't be the end. Our great Sir Otton will find an excuse for a third duel before you know it. That'll be my last one for sure. Tomas rolls up the sleeve of his uniform. 2 pitch black lines encircle his forearm. He is desperate, and it is easy to see why. One-on-one against an Archduke swordsman, he is doomed. Nice, we can stop the duel from taking place. That's pretty good. The law forbids dueling, but if you refuse to show Tomas your support throughout... Sorry, God, I need to relax. But if you refuse to show Tomas your support through your presence, your friend's spirit will be broken before his body can even be killed. You recall all the previous encounters with Otton in your youth. Is there a chance that this distinguished Archduke still remembers you? If you go to him and speak in Tomas's defense, will he even bother to listen? We don't have the friendship with him to be able to pull that off, I don't think. Where's Otton? Yeah, he's indifferent. He's not going to care. There have been times in the past when we could have made friends with him, but we didn't. So we can agree to be Tomas' second and leave him in need. You cannot possibly leave Tomas in need at a time like this. You will go to the duel along with him, or because we've got manipulation and Otton doesn't hate us, we can prevent the duel and save our friend. I'm going to do that and try and save both Tomas and myself a life. We're going to stop the duel from taking place. Since you have story is Otton's favour, apparently having him at 0 is his favour, you can prevent the duel and save your friend. He might not like that, but you've been best friends with Tomas ever since you were little boys. Does he really think you can abandon him to such a cruel fate? Dueling Otton is suicide, but there is a much better way to emerge from this predicament. You tell Tomas you will meet with Otton and make a deal with him. He will be safe from Otton's harassment. What sort of deal, though? Tomas slowly shakes his head, unconvinced. I'm happy you're so willing to help, buddy, but Otton, he isn't going to listen. Even Archons say he's a loose cannon. You're just another human to him. You're not even a noble of the sword. You tell him Otton will surely remember you, especially since you got his attention on several occasions. Back at the party in Eterna, Otton deigned to hear you when Tomas first attracted his ire. Surely you can do it again. You can try, Brante, but I'm gonna be prepared for the worst anyway. If Otton wants me dead, he's gonna have me dead sooner or later. Either way, thank you for being on my side. Before you leave to seek an audience with the commander, you ask Tomas for more information. What was Otton's excuse for challenging him to a duel this time? Here's what happened. Otton told me to head to a nearby village with a squad of Legion soldiers, Sulmina it's called. The villagers refused to pay the Archduke's tax, since they already pay the tax to Gaius Tempest's men. He's the overseer, so the law says the tax is his. So Otton told me and the lads to string up a couple of the rowdiest peasants and put their houses to the torch to teach the rest of them a lesson. So if you remember what's going on in the game, the Archduke lost his position as overseer and the Emperor's brother got it instead, and then the Archduke is trying to tax them as well as the overseer, and obviously by law they pay the overseer and not the Archduke. It's a pretty awful move he's doing there, trying to get rid of the peasants and burn their houses just because he won't pay his fake tax. So we went there, and let me tell you, buddy, I didn't join the Legion to start hanging people and burning villages, so we decided to have a word with the village elder first. The locals soon realised what was going on. Losing money is one thing, but losing a spare life is worse. They hemmed and hawed and finally found enough cash to pay Archduke Melanendas, which meant we came back to Anizot with nobody dead and all the money for the treasury. But then the commander summons me and claims I didn't follow his orders, which means I also slighted the honour of the noble Archnian who's my commander. So he challenges me to a duel. And you know what? I'm not the first, Brante, and I'm not the last. Any officer in the Legion could end up like me. Otton does as he sees fit, with no plans to stop. He's a commander. He's a noble of the sword. He's an Archnian. We're just dirt under his boot. Who's going to rein him in? Actually, we are, because that was part of the plan Augustine Elborn wanted us to do, was to get rid of these corrupt nobles. His story over, Tomas leaves your office. Wasting no time, you head for the Magla Armory, the headquarters of the province's High Commander. You approach the ancient barracks built of ruddy red stone. Between those walls on the outside world stands a tall fence. The same fence encircles the fields nearby. Ever since the old days of the Archnian Republic, this has been the training ground of the armed militia. It does not take you long to find Otton. He is in a square in front of the armory, inspecting the uniforms of lined up Legion troops, looking intently for faults. Captain, if I notice that even one of your 100 troops is not in compliance with the uniform code, I will take it as a personal insult. You don't wish to insult my honour, do you, Captain? The Legion captain in question stands before him. He promises to do his best, his voice shaking. Satisfied, Otton takes his seat and begins reading an essay on military strategy. You seize his opportune moments to approach the commander, tactfully draw his attention and introduce yourself. Brante? Oh yes, aren't you the same young man my old servant girl Sophia got mixed up with? I wonder what happened to that little tart. Oh, she's still around. So you grew up to become a prefecture judge, I see. Not much of a step up from a commoner, but I will grant you a bit of my time. What brings you here? You explain. You are here to petition for Captain Tomas Guro. He will never reject a duel when his honour is on the line, but Sir Otton must surely realise that the duel will not be an even one. Will the esteemed High Commander of Magla be kind enough to choose a different officer for his exercise? Surely a swordmaster such as the esteemed Sir Otton could find no shortage of clumsy low-born soldiers to duel. You think I don't know what I want, Brante? Do you think I can't decide for myself? That son of a whore Guiro had the nerve to disobey my orders. He insulted me, and I will not allow such a stain upon the honour of my family. You think your pitiful excuses will change this? You humbly ask the commander to show mercy to a man who was but a commoner a few years before. Show mercy, you say? Well then, I agree, but only on one condition. He must quit my legion immediately. I will strip him of his captain's rank and pay, and then he will leave and never show himself again, or that will be his final insult. Oh no. If your pitiful friend is willing to throw away a noble title and end his days in poverty, then I have no desire to fight him. No Archnian would ever duel such lowly filth. Tell him to bring his letter of resignation in person. Remember this, I granted you my time only because of all the pleasant memories of my Sophia. Do not expect me to hear your grovelling again in the future. You and your family ought to consider whether scum such as Guiro is worth your trouble. Oh no, we actually should have fought instead and died a lesser death rather than letting Tomas lose his job. Oh, you can't go back, that's interesting. It's time to break the news to Tomas. He looks very conflicted when he learns of the deal you have struck with Otton. Really? Otton agrees to let me leave the Legion? I can't believe he even bothered to hear you out. Does that mean I'm finally free from his harassment? Thank you, my dear friend. You saved me from true death. But if I leave the Legion, what will I do then? That's the most humiliating thing there is. All the work I put into joining the military would be wasted. I'd have no job, no pay. I'd never be a nobleman again. So he doesn't like us, which I don't care about. He's an asshole. I have to think about this, but one way or another you've bought me some time. I still have 2 lives left, all thanks to you, buddy. He's gone into hiding, oh no. You found Tomas a secure shelter. He'll be safe from Otton's sword as long as he remains there. That wasn't a very good decision, I don't think. I knew there'd be a heavy price to pay, but... Oh, now. Maybe a chance for some payback. The case against Otton. The day after your meeting with Tomas, time slows to a crawl. As you examine one case after another, you cannot help but think back to your friend and his fate, again and again. There is a knock at the door. Baron Elborn, the prefect, has decided to pay you a visit. I have a matter to discuss with you, Brante. Would you mind if we take a walk? It's getting a bit stuffy in here. The prefect clearly wants to discuss something in private. You walk down the stairs together and leave the prefecture. Soon, the two of you are walking down the noisy streets of the Brass District. The wind is strong today, the grey sky mercifully overcast. The people around you are bartering, buying and selling eagerly. The streets are full of craftsmen and factory workers. Merchant carts speak as they roll down the streets. The head of the prefecture looks more worried than usual, lost in thought as he observes the bustling street life around him. Brante, do you recall how we talked about the tyranny of the nobility in the province? Dorius Otton, the high commander of Magla, is on a murderous spree. He challenges his subordinates to a duel for the slightest infraction and slaughters them with impunity. If our law is unable to protect anyone from the violent tyranny of the Archnians, who will ever respect the law? It's time we put an end to this. As long as I am in charge of the prefecture, establishing the rule of law over people of all estates and titles is our most important task. But people like Otton stand in our way. People who think themselves above the law. We need to prove them wrong. I have been informed that Otton has pressured your childhood friend Captain Thomas Guerrero into a duel, and I believe Sir Guerrero has sought your assistance in private. Am I right? You admit that it is so. Indeed, as an old friend, Tomas is counting on you to defend him. And so, young Brante, I believe that to be the reason enough to entrust this case to you officially. If you find yourself doubting your abilities, know that you are my best candidate. No other judge would have the courage to prosecute an Archnian. That, and I trust you more than any ordinary judge. I spoke to your father, but even he would not accept this undertaking. He says your family has worked too hard to be ennobled by the sword to risk it all now, but you bear no such burden, do you? I kinda do, actually. As it stands right now, sentencing an Archnian to even the smallest punishment is unthinkable, but drop by drop, water can wear down any stone. We will make our way to Otton, but we must do it slowly and carefully. What we need is a perfectly prepared case. We need you to find enough incontrovertible evidence and enough witnesses who are willing to testify in court. But I'm sure you realize that even this won't be enough to force an Archnian to go to trial, don't you, Morgan? We have to change the unspoken rules in our city and province. We'll start with lower ranking people, lower ranking cases, and little by little we'll establish rules that even highborn nobles will have to obey. All of a sudden, Elborn stops. Standing in the middle of a street bustling with life, he points out a number of commoners hurrying about their business. Just look. All these people need to know that there is such a thing as justice. The law must apply to them all, no matter their lot. Whether suffering, praying, or ruling, they need to know that they can rely on us judges to enforce the law against anyone and everyone. I am counting on you in this, Sir Brante. You stand motionless as Elborn studies you intently. From now on, from this moment forth, you will prosecute a case against the High Commander of Magla, a highborn Archnian from an ancient dynasty. This is a pivotal moment in your destiny and your career. You could rise higher than ever, or plunge into obscurity and ruin. Yeah, this could leap us into being a future prefect. And also push the fight for justice up ever further. You decide to talk about Tomas and his fate. Right now he represents your best chance at getting Otton indicted, but there is absolutely no guarantee he will live to speak at trial. If you are to oversee this case, ensuring his safety has to be the first thing you do. You're right, Brante. We need Tomas Guerrero to see this to the end. But remember, this is about more than just your friend and his fate. This is a matter of law and justice for the entire province. The peril to Sir Tomas's life is indeed great, but if you openly defy the High Commander right now, your standing will suffer accordingly. You could find shelter for Sir Tomas, away from Otton. Oh nice, they're all open. That's great. But if Tomas remains in the city, he might be of use when you begin looking for Otton's other victims. I realize you are looking for a way to rescue your friend, but right now we must all use caution lest our entire cause suffers. What say you, Morgan? What is your plan? Let Tomas roam freely? Absolutely not. You choose to exercise caution and refrain from getting involved in Tomas's fate. We can have him taken into custody. You get Tomas framed and taken to prison to keep him safe from another duel. We could send him out of Anizot, because of the promise we made to Elborn. You pressure Elborn to give you a squadron of gendarmes to ensure that Tomas is well guarded, or we can convince him to leave the Legion. Thanks to the deal you struck with Otton, you convince your friend to leave military service and give him some money to live on the... No. Okay, so that's good. We've ruled out two. We're not going to let him roam freely, and we're not going to let him leave the Legion, because it's going to cost us money, which is not what I want the minute. It's already low enough as it is. We're in poverty, and he's in hiding. Send him out of Anizot, or have him taken into custody. If Tomas remains in the city, he might be of use when you begin looking for Otton's other victims. I mean, that seems to make more sense, but I wonder if he'll be in danger in prison. Watch to stop the Archduke from getting into prison and killing him. Oh, I mean, actually, I don't think he would do that. Or send him out of Anizot. Let's have Tomas taken into custody. Oh god, we could be signing his death warrant here. You get Tomas framed and taken to prison, all to keep him safe from another duel. Phew, that wasn't an easy decision. You inform Elborn you have a plan to protect Tomas, but the prefect need not know the details. It will be safer for everyone this way. That it will be, Brante. You are the only one who truly knows how to help your friend. Proceed then. My only request is that you remain within the law at all times. Which is a hint that in order to do this, we're probably going to have to break the law. You assure the prefect that the law will not be broken. On the contrary, it will be enforced with prejudice. I will leave that to your conscience then. We should get back to work. Begin preparing the case at once. Back at the office, you send a note to Tomas's address, a brief request to visit you at the prefecture as soon as possible. He returns to your office that evening. You've not seen him for just one day, but he looks a decade older. It pains you to see him so downcast. But you have news. Otton is well on his way toward being punished for his crimes. You are building a case against the High Commander of Magla, and Tomas absolutely has to participate in the trial as the main witness and tell the whole truth about the lawless tyranny of the haughty Archnian. Upon hearing these words, Tomas stands tall again. You spy a wicked spark in his eyes, a glimmer familiar from the years when you were young. My oh my, the Brante boy next door wants to put an Archnian behind bars. Count me in, buddy. I'll bear witness alright, and I'm gonna have myself a good rant about that highborn bastard. You ask your friend to pace himself first. For now, first of all, Tomas needs protection against Otton's harassment, and you have a plan for that. You will start building a case of illegal dueling, but introduce the facts in a different way. It will look like Tomas was the one who initiated the duel, and you will personally sentence him to a term in prison and temporary revocation of the sword. This way, Otton will be unable to reach Tomas or challenge him again. You want to put me in jail? Isn't that too much? How's that going to affect my standing in the Legion? But my only alternative is dueling Otton again. Okay, I'll do what I must. I'll put my trust in you, even if it means spending some time behind bars. It shouldn't be any worse than our barracks. Yeah, well, I wasn't sending you away because my family's broke. And you can give me help finding more people. That's settled. You write an order to imprison Captain Tomas Guerrero for inciting a duel with his superior, Sir Dorius Otton. All that is left now is to summon the gendarmes and have them seize Tomas's sword and take him to prison. You calmly watch your friend being put in shackles. He manages a sly wink before being led out of your office. Now Captain Guerrero should be locked in a dark cell and kept safe and sound by the prefecture. Not even an Archean High Commander has the power to pull to get to him in there. Oh dear. But your gambit does not go unnoticed. One of the judges at the prefecture learns about your order and starts spreading rumours among the other nobles, claiming you'd besmirched the good name of Sir Dorius Otton. After all, you have created a written record of Otton being challenged to a duel by one of his own captains, a considerable mark of shame for an Archean High Commander. I knew that was going to happen. The nobles are starting to talk about it. This will surely attract Otton's unwanted attention to the case and make your work as a judge more difficult. Oh god, we're just not going to do well. Like, we're so far away from becoming renowned. We're not going to be a noble by the sword if we go against Otton. Scheming's gone up though, which is always nice, even though we're inexperienced. Otton's case, the year 1141. Well look, if I don't get a noble by the sword, I can hope that my father, or possibly Stefan, can do it, and at least I can make my mark by getting rid of the tyranny of the nobles. You have been entrusted with a case against the noble and influential Archean, the High Commander of the province. He is accused of violence against his own legionaries. I wonder what father would have to say about this. God, our family's in such a terrible position. We have no money. We have no money and we have no reputation now. Year 1141, the procession to the tree. A holy day is coming, a day when the entire empire thanks the twins for the silver tree, the sign they left behind as a reminder of their eternal presence in this world. This momentous occasion is especially important for Anisot, but the clergy cannot agree on how best to celebrate it. Father Leonard has called for all worshippers of the twins to approach the temple of the silver tree and kneel before the sacred relic, but the old clergy balks at the idea of Leonard and new believers leading the ritual. The day has come. An immense crowd is moving in a procession toward a temple near the silver tree, where Father Leonard waits. But an inquisitor by the name of Jean stands in their way. She strikes a defiant pose. Confronted by a member of the Holy Order of the Inquisition, the procession reluctantly stops. People, turn back. Those who attend Leonard's rites will succumb to the new faith. Those who reject the lots will defy their divine design. You're about to bring the wrath of the gods down upon us all. Open your eyes. Go back to your homes and pray to the twins. The procession wants to move, but the people are confused until Father Leonard himself walks out of the temple to meet Jean face to face. People of Anisot, no one has the right to deny you the sacred ritual of worshipping at the tree, not even the Inquisition. Is such a denial not more likely to provoke the wrath of the twins? The Inquisition must know that the new faith does not seek to challenge or defy the twins. We are merely trying to correct the mistakes of those who came before us. We do not anger the twins, we merely vex those who refuse to accept the dawn of a new age. Jean finds herself between a rock and a hard place. Seeing that she has no other choice, she lets the procession pass. The new faith's numbers have swelled of late. It cannot be stopped now. The church is getting closer and closer to a schism. Well, it's already in a schism. I think I have to accept that I will not be a noble by the sword in this playthrough. There's also an option to become a member of Gaius Tempest's court, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen either. So we shall see what happens, but I'm still going to focus on I think, reputation as much as I can. Yeah. the Festival of the Silver Tree. Today is an important holiday. The entire empire is celebrating the Festival of the Silver Tree, which commemorates the parting gift of the twin gods, the divine sapling they planted in our mortal world in the middle of Anisoth. The families of the city spend the day in peace and quiet, contemplating the divine roots that join together all people, their bloodlines, and the entire empire. Mother always oversees this holiday. The day before the festival, she seemed to have shaken off her usual apathy and engaged in the preparations with excitement. It was as though her illness has loosened its grip. Mother gathers the entire family for the holiday meal. Father is in high spirits today, sharing jokes with you and Nathan. Stefan is trying to suppress an atypical agitation. Gloria is the last to join you at the table. She is wearing new breeches with high stockings and a yellow vest. Gloria, you are wearing men's clothes again. No, Mother, I'm wearing clothes women are forbidden to wear. Father gives Gloria a stern look. Stefan rolls his eyes but says nothing. Suddenly, Nathan speaks up. A few days ago in the market, I saw a grocer dressed as Overseer Gaius Tempest. He had a huge carrot for a scepter. He got a sound drubbing, of course, but until then it was quite a hoot. Everybody laughs at the ridiculous story, you're relieved. Even Gloria has a smile on her face when she sits down. The feast commences. Your family finally feels warm for a moment. It wasn't so long ago the four of you couldn't even reach up to this table. The first word you said, Gloria, was gimme. Nathan used to cling to my skirt all the time, almost tearing it. And you, Morgan, you couldn't talk at all yet. But your piercing stare was so impressive, it felt as if you were talking to me. Mother looks at Stefan and suddenly grows quiet. When I met Stefan, he was already 3 years old. He was so serious, and a smooth talker to boot. I remember that he had a music teacher, but he was too shy to play in front of me, so I used to listen from the next room. God, I love the music in this game. Stefan's face twitches. Your elder brother rises and moves to the old harpsichord. His fingers fly gracefully over the keys. A melody fills the house, melancholy and sweet. The last note lingers in the air, then silence falls. The family is awestruck. Words fail you all. Who wrote that? A nobleman from the capital, between drinking a glass of wine and beating a servant. Your sister's cutting remark puts an end to the warm, cozy atmosphere. Stefan calmly turns to face her. No, it was I who composed this piece of music. It is called Mother. Mother rises to her feet. She would have needed help to do just this recently, but now she threads unassisted towards Stefan and draws him close. Stefan puts his arm around his stepmother's waist, then detaches himself awkwardly. May the twin gods bless you, Lydia. Gloria considers the scene with thinly veiled fury in her eyes. Of course highborn nobles like Stefan are made for the arts. They're the only ones lucky enough to have a soul and experience inspiration. Unlike us, the lowborn, we aren't supposed to feel anything but suffering, let alone express it in poetry. Everyone notices that Gloria is clutching pages filled with writing, her poems. Your sister casts a mournful glance at the family, and her eyes rest on you. We could interrupt her, let her read her poems, or let Mother calm Gloria down. I mean, my philosophy with this game, as I've always said, is that the best decisions are the ones that are unlocked. So let's appeal to Mother and ask her to calm Gloria down. I would like her to read her poems, but I don't think it's going to make the situation any better, and she'd be going against her lot. You walk up to Mother, take her hand in yours, and whisper in her ear. It is time for her to interfere and save the family celebration. Mother nods understandingly. Gloria, my dear child. Since you were little, I taught you to care for your soul. But if I fail to convince you, please think about the family that took us in. I implore you, do not take on noble activities. Do not infringe upon the divine order. Gloria's face flushes red with fury. She clasps the pages to her chest. That's right, Mother, since I was little. Do you think I'm not reminded of it with every breath I take, of all the things I'm forbidden to do because I'm a lowborn? My dear girl, listen to me. There is more to life than you and your aspirations. You are a member of the Brante family, and our family is part of a greater universe. Your actions affect us all. We are not isolated. We are being watched by the city, by the empire, by the twin gods themselves. So I'm not allowed to bear your name, but I still have to bear all the responsibilities that come with it. What hypocrisy! Gloria runs out of the room, outraged and tearful. Your family is left dumbfounded. Finally, Stefan speaks. I hope, Lydia, that you can make her see reason. Your words were wise. Let us heed them ourselves. Our Gloria's gone down. The celebration continues despite Gloria's absence. Unity has gone up, which is nice. I was hoping that would happen. So we're almost to peace, which is great. Manipulation went up. That was pretty good. No, we're set on this path now. We need to have a focused family on presenting. Ooh, a rendezvous with Octavia. This event is a consequence of your previous actions, because we're close with Octavia. A rendezvous with Octavia. Octavia and you do not see each other very often. Sometimes as the days wear on, you forget about your unusual liaison, but then the Archduke's daughter bursts into your life and you abandon yourselves to passion until she disappears again. Today Octavia is waiting for you at her at her summer home in the city. It is a cozy little villa, well concealed from prying eyes by a high fence. Beyond the fence is a glorious garden. You've never seen one so beautiful in Magla. Octavia meets you on the veranda. She is wearing a light white frock that leaves her shoulders exposed. Her black hair cascades down her back. You bow to Lady Melanendas. She grins and draws you towards her so that you can sit down by her side. The sun is melting beyond the horizon. Octavia commands her servants to leave you alone. Tonight she is strangely pensive, barely touching her food and drink. You cautiously inquire if anything is amiss. Listen to me, Morgan. I'm at a crossroads. My father, the Archduke, is planning to send me out of Magla for a while. Apparently, in his opinion, my escapades are bound to cause trouble for our family. Octavia stands up, towering above you. Her eyes burn with a menacing flame. I'm a daughter of the great family of Melanendas, an Archnian, born at the peak of the world. All shall tremble before me. Isn't that so, Morgan Brante? But before you can reply, Octavia abruptly lowers her head, downhearted. I am not free. Just like you, my dear human Brante. I have a duty to my family, to my blood tide, to the Empire. My whole life, all I've ever done is fulfill obligations created by others. I have no aspirations. Everything is preordained. What the world is like, how I ought to live, what my father doesn't decide for me. Those two up on the peak of the shining pillar already have. I am looking for a way out of this cage. It must exist. I study history, but all I find are tidbits of lost knowledge. But I believe that I am not the first to try to escape the chains of this world. What am I to do, Morgan? You yearn to break free of the fetters of fate just as I do. You have escaped the commoner's lot and joined the higher estate, but your new lot is just as much of a prison, isn't it? Could it really be that none of us will ever be free? Octavia looks into your eyes dolefully. You have never seen her so helpless before. So we can ask for assistance. You steer the conversation in a specific direction and entreat Octavia to put in a good word for you. So if she was my patron, that's interesting. I also miss an option for that. I think if I had won the tournament, she would become our patron. We can lose ourselves in pleasure. Inquire about the arcane knowledge that she's been seeking, or share our revelation about death. So because we've died, we can tell her about the grand design the twins have. Or we can inquire about the arcane knowledge that she has been seeking. What's more useful for her? We could comfort her. Or do this. I mean, I want to know about the lost knowledge she's been seeking, but I'm trying to think about what would be the best to help her. letting her hear our revelation, maybe. Let's comfort her. Let's share the revelation. You relate into Octavia the grandeur of the twin gods' design as it was revealed to you in your revelation when we died. Oh no, I kind of want to do this one. I think this is going to give us theology, possibly, but this might give us a better relationship with her. Let's share the revelation. You put your hand on Octavia's shoulder and gesture to the blazing line of this shining pillar in the sky. Flashes of your childhood experience come back to you. What you felt then was the truth. It came to you from the heavens and poured straight into your soul. It needs neither proof nor prayer, and you share your truth with your beloved. Your existence is a gift from the twin gods. You are creations of their will. Yes, all people who live in this world lack freedom, if only because they were put into existence by the will of another. But this is also the most beautiful thing that could possibly exist. You are part of the gods' design, so no one is ever lonely, lost, or empty. Yes, you comply with that design, but the design is a pure embodiment of the gods' love for you. You've experienced it. You know it, because it is so. Octavia sneers and moves away from you. Oh dear. The way you describe it, this love of theirs is nothing but a violation, and we're supposed to not just submit, but rejoice. You protest that it is a violation only if you fight it, if you struggle. But why struggle? The twin gods use their design to let you into their world, to allow you to live in it, to think, feel, and understand. This in itself is a blessing. Any other world would have barriers of its own, so why not accept these? Octavia looks at the shining pillar thoughtfully. There is something to what you say, but you experienced this revelation firsthand, and I didn't, and to me, it all appears to be submission, as though I were a puny commoner at the feet of my master. Must I, Octavia Malalandas, submit and endure? No, I'll find another way. Anyway, that's enough theology for today. Put your arms around me, Morgan. I want to savour what I have for now. Oh, okay, it was +2 actually, that's quite interesting. We got some extra willpower, I guess, which is nice. Curious to hear what would have happened if we had chosen the other option. The arcane knowledge. Peacetime rolls on. We're only 24 years of age, so much has happened. Year 1142, the Emperor's heirs in danger. News from the capital quickly reaches every corner of the empire. Gerion and Flavius, the heirs to the throne, have left the empire's palace for the province of Monia, which is ruled by Great Chancellor Aegerius Monroe. He's the guy who tried to stop us getting into the college, if you remember. The Great Chancellor has accused the Emperor's court of harbouring malefactors conspiring against the imperial heirs. This is why he has offered them shelter and safety in his own impregnable citadel. The common people are particularly worried by the news. They take it as a sign that the Chancellor is seeking to solidify his power by holding the heirs hostage. If this continues, Monroe could coerce the Emperor into revoking the imperial law, thus depriving the common estate of any and all rights. All hope for reform in the empire has vanished. From farmer to rich industrialist, the commoners are growing desperate. In your province, the authorities are trying their best to put people at ease. The magistrate of Anisort makes a speech from his balcony to the excited crowd below. Trust in your emperor, good people. The imperial heirs are the future of the great Tempest dynasty. The emperor has made the wise decision to send them far away from the scheming court. Great Chancellor Monroe will take good care of them and keep them safe. All glory to the empire, all glory to the Tempests. So the wealth of Magra has gone down again, and the struggle of power is now completely balanced. The commoners are not getting their way. Oh wow. Chapter Peacetime ends soon. Examine possible chapter endings to check which way you are headed. To achieve the goal that you've chosen, you'll have to meet all of its conditions at the end of the chapter. So there's true death, which means we die 4 times. broken chains. The rebellious citizens take control of Anizot with justice equals 10. There's absolutely no chance of that happening because we're at justice 3, I think. Knight of the Serpents. The supporters of Archduke Melanidas take over the city. That was if my career was 10 and I made a deal with Remy Elvarman and the family falls apart, but I didn't do that either. So Otton faces the Court of Honor. We can't do that because our career needs to be between 8 and 9. We betrayed Elborn. We haven't banned the Court of Honor, and we haven't been branded by dishonor. I think so. I don't think we can get that either. We could possibly get Otton is sentenced if we got justice to 8, but that's a very long way away. We might not get any of these endings actually. By the way things are going, he might be able to get away with it. That's quite sinister in itself. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know how you think the story is playing out. Would you have made different decisions, and where you think it's all going to end up at the end of peacetime? And I will see you all in the next video. Take care and have a nice day.